Good evening, everyone. I am calling to order the meeting of the Citizens Advisory Council of High Point this day, October 22nd, 2020. I do want to welcome, our members, and we do have guests this evening. We have City Council members, Mr. Victor Jones from Ward 5. Of course, we've got, our guy, Cyril Jefferson, Ward 1 City Council. And I'm not sure if Mr. Hudson is on. Wesley, are you on? Okay. Hopefully he'll join later. But again, I want to welcome everyone to the meeting. We are officially open. Did everybody hear that? Okay. All right. So we will begin with a prayer. And if we can get someone to open us up in prayer. No takers?
Go ahead. Let's pray. Father God, we thank you. We honor you for this day. Thank you, God, that it was a very productive day. And we're thankful, God, that we have the time just to say thank you this evening. So, God, we ask that you be with us as we go forward this evening in our meeting, that we be about business and nothing more. We just love you and we honor you for it all in Jesus' name, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Boone. Okay. We don't have any minutes for this meeting. I spoke with Michelle. They're still working through those minutes. So we're going to get those as soon as they get us caught up. We'll go just right into the old business.
Excuse me, but could you go through a roll call so we'll know who we have on the call? And for people who are listening in, we'll know who we have.
Absolutely. Let me see. Who do we have on the phone? We have Orel Henry.
Present.
We have Clodagh McSweeney.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. We have Mr. Warren Boone.
Present.
Okay. Mr. Donald Belton.
Present.
Mr. Jerry Mingo.
Don't think so.
I guess he must have went out, but he was here earlier.
Yeah, and he may be able to hear us. He's showing as an attendee.
Okay. We have Mr. Jim Bronner. Is he with us, Mr. Bronner?
Jim, you're
He's
muted.
muted.
Yeah, I'm here.
Excellent. Mr. Willie Davis? Nope. Is Jessica on the line? No. You see, we still have Jim. And from Community Development, we have Michael McNair.
Yes.
We have Michelle McNair.
Yeah. Yes.
The wonderful Miss Alicia Doolin.
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. And Miss Tamina Wilson.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Who do we have at the phone number? The 847.
That's Mr.
Is that
Belton.
Okay. All right. So do we have enough for a quorum?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. So everybody's here. Everybody is ready. Then we'll get right to it. Has everyone had a chance to look at the updates that were sent out? We've got some Cdbg Cv updates that came out. Michelle has sent those out.
Yes.
These are halfway reviews, and we got it from 5 organizations, 5 agencies. We've got Macedonia, who sent in an update. Open Door Ministries, the Piedmont Health and Sickle Cell Agency, Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club, and one more, I think, West End Ministries. Okay. So I'll open the floor to any questions. Has everyone had a chance to look it over?
I have.
Yeah.
I'm still looking.
Okay. Well, if you will also check your email, there was a overview that was sent out by Michelle earlier, and it just talks about, in case someone had any questions, just what the goals of the organizations were. It kind of shows you what the award amounts were, what they've spent to date, and what's expected of the projects. So again, I went through. To me, everything looks pretty good. There are some questions, about if they're going to be able to reach those goals. I think most of them say that they will. But again, any questions from the floor?
Robert, I have a question on the Salvation Army one. We assigned them 39,000 so far. They said they'd used 23 of that because of the restrictions they were met with over the summer. So at the bottom, it says that they are requesting a change to allow us to use the remaining funds to serve children during remote learning. So that would be something different than what we approved. So I was just wondering what was currently happening with the remainder of that.
Well, I know they have to come back to us, from what I understand. Is that right, Michelle?
If they're changing the scope of services, then she would have to do a request to the CAC to talk about what she wants to do with the money, and if the scope of services has changed, because it's different than what you guys agreed upon. If she was just moving from one line item to another, then Mike approves those type of changes.
So we gave them 39 and they used 24. So they just currently have the rest of it right now.
We don't give money out. We don't write a check out to individuals or agencies whenever we award them money. It's on a reimbursement basis.
Okay.
So they never get money until after they have spent money and show us that they have gone through and met the requirements that we want them to meet. And then at that point, they are reimbursed for whatever monies they spent. So if they don't come back with a scope of service change, or if they don't ask for anything else to happen with that money, it never goes to that agency.
Okay. So it's just left over right now.
Yes, I mean, they still have the opportunity to do the change until the deadline of their contract. So that money cannot be used for anything else until, their contract ends, or if they make an adjustment to do something different.
Okay.
Clodagh, did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
I've got a quick one. This Open Door, I remember that their money was supposed to go for an emergency shelter, and it says that they were able to help 15 people. How many people did they propose originally to help? Or did they?
They had a number, Jim. I need to go back and just look. I don't, right off the top of my head, I think it was about that many, but I'm not for sure. I just need to go back and look at the information that I sent you guys earlier on what their goals were. Hold on for a minute.
See if I can pull it up, because that was in their original request, the very first one. But I know it was 15 individuals, and they also hired several staff people I don't know remember if that was included in that number or not. Let me-
It says Open Doors was awarded 28 and that they've spent 28.
They did fully spend that one for the first one. Most of that came with salary costs for all the part-time staff that they had to hire because the shelter was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So they had to hire quite a few part-time staff to keep that running.
Wasn't this one of the ones we were concerned about the salaries? Where a lot of it was going towards salary?
No, you actually did not review that one.
I think that might have
Oh,
been Macedonia. I think that
That,
might have been
that was,
Macedonia.
that was an award made by the department. That was the first one that was made.
Yes.
oh, it seems to me like we read an application from Open Door.
I had a second application.
Yeah, that's not what this is?
Mm-mm.
That's the first one.
Yeah, their second one is for emergency financial assistance
Oh, okay.
and utilities, and that one will be, they're gonna do their update next month on that one. It was just getting underway.
Oh,
But
okay.
you may remember, Jim, we did talk about that along with talking about United Way. That was during the same time frame
Right,
before the money was actually put into an RFP.
okay. Good enough.
Their original proposal was for 15 to 20 residents for that emergency shelter.
And so they still have 21,000 left, and they're doing the same services. Is that correct?
No, so the second grant that they have is for emergency rent and utility assistance, and to move some of their shelter residents into permanent housing with security deposits and utility deposits. So that one is separate scope than the first grant.
So has that one already begun?
Yes.
That one is underway, and they'll do their update on that next month.
Okay.
But they
And what's
waited
the-
to finish out the first one before they started up the second one.
And what's their deadline for the second project?
We actually had a deadline for the grant for December the 31st. But normally if an agency has ran into maybe some issues or things might have started slow, and if they ask for an extension, we can actually extend that.
Okay. So is this one extended or is it still have that
Not
December
at
date?
this time.
Okay. And you said that was rental assistance, utility assistance, and helping individuals getting into permanent housing.
For their second grant, yeah.
That's the second grant. That's the one that you guys will hear a report from next month.
The
Gotcha.
first one is fully finished. They're finished with that project. In terms of the grant, anyway.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? None? Okay. Well, I'd just like to say, these reports, they do look pretty good. There are services out there. I do want to make sure that, we as a group that we're keeping tabs on these projects, because these are some things we're coming up against some pretty, stressful times here. So, hopefully we can get the other reviews to see where they're at. But, I think we have until the end of the year. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, but we'll be getting updates then, either end of the year or is that next year in June?
For
July?
this group, whenever you do your November update, because this is unusual for us, this is a new set of grants that were added in. And so whenever you get you can get a end of the year update for all of them to see where they are and see if any of these individuals have actually extended beyond December the 31st.
Okay.
Normally on regular grants, it would be in January when those grantees come back to you and talk to you about their mid-year review. And so, but this is a little, this came in between the regular grant, so this is a little different.
Hey, Michelle, has there been anyone that asked for an extension? And I may have missed that question earlier.
There has been one person that I am aware of, but they haven't done it in writing yet, that talked about possibly wanting to extend. And that was the Hayden Harmon Foundation with the sanitary stations.
Right.
They had talked about it, but they have not asked us that request in writing yet.
Okay.
Alicia, I'm not aware of anyone else. Are you?
No.
Is there typically a deadline that they have for such a request, or is it up until December 31st?
What we would like to see happen is a month before, their contract ends, if they could actually let us know and send us something in writing so it can go through the process. Because if it's extended, that's like an amendment or something that has to be done. And so it has to go through and get re-signed. The amendment has to be re-signed, and it has to be reviewed by, other staff people than us. And so we like to have it, a month before so that we can actually have that paperwork in place prior to the contract ending.
Okay.
Okay. So do we want to accept these reviews as they are? Again, do we have any questions, comments, or any other requests?
When will the other one from Open Door be available?
Next month at your meeting, we'll send it out. They're there to give their information to us, so it'll be ready for your next month's meeting.
Okay.
So just like we sent these out, we will send the other ones out, when we get them for you guys to review prior to the meeting.
Thank you.
And just to let you guys know, we're talking to these agencies sometimes every day, almost on a weekly basis, to make sure that they're doing what needs to be done and make sure that they're spending their money, right on time, so that at the end of, the grant period, nobody is rushing to do anything. And we do monitoring with these agencies to make sure that they're in compliance with the regs and what we're requiring of them.
Okay. All right. So do we have a motion to accept reviews?
Yes, I'll make a motion for us to accept the reviews that's been presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and second. Any questions? Okay. All right, well, we'll go down the line. We'll go with first Clodagh, yea or nay?
Yes, yep.
We'll go Mr. Warren Boone,
Yes.
Mr. Orrell Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Donald Belton,
Yes.
Mr. Jim Bronner,
Yes.
And is Mr. Mingo still with us?
He texted me, yes,
Okay.
yes.
And that would be a yes for me. So the motion passes. Okay. All right, guys. Next on the list is the neighborhood schedule, neighborhood association meetings. At our last meeting, I did put out there that I do want to see some interaction, some involvement from us as members with the neighborhood associations. But because of coronavirus, we really haven't had a lot of meetings that have taken place. I do know that there's a sign-up sheet that I did create, but there hasn't been many meetings that have taken place. The only ones that I know of at this point could be Southside, and I think Oakview has met, but I think it may have been virtual, if that's correct.
Now, Southside, from what I understand, have not been meeting.
They did
Washington Street has been meeting on a regular basis, but they have been doing it virtually, not in-person meeting. London Wood has met one time in person since the coronavirus. And so I'm not for sure if they're going to continue to do that, you know, for the next 2 months. I'm not really for sure. We're waiting for some information back from them to tell us if they're going to do that or not. And Oakview has been having planning meetings. And it has not been their regular meetings, but I think when talking to Jim, that they're going to get back to doing their regular meetings, but they're going to change the meeting date and the meeting date from the time that they're doing it now. And
Actually, our first one is next Thursday.
And so that is the only groups at this point that I know that has been meeting or trying to meet. And I know that Burns Hill, they're doing the not regular meetings, but they sort of hover around their garden a little bit. And so when people are there, they normally talk about things, but it's not considered their regular meeting. And they are planning on having a regular meeting next month in person.
And that's Burns Hill?
Yes.
Okay. Well, again, do we have any anticipation when the neighborhoods are talking about getting back online and having meetings other than the 4 we talked about today?
Well, based on the ones that I have talked to, a lot of them are probably not going to do anything for the rest of the year in terms of doing regular meetings. And they're just waiting to see what happens with this, with the COVID thing. And so I can't give you a date, you know, as to any of them except for Oakview, which Jim says they will start back in January on their regular meetings on their new date.
No, we're actually gonna, next week is, next Thursday will be our first, and then November 10th will be another, but they're virtual meetings. We won't start back face to face until after the first.
That's exactly right. Thank you. That's correct. I'm thinking in person. I'm sorry, Jim.
Right, you're right.
Okay. Well, I'd still like to see us get out to these meetings if we can. Again, you know, the coronavirus, you know, there could be some restrictions. So I want everybody to be safe and be careful, of course. So if we can hop on a virtual meeting, again, as CAC members, you know, our job is to liaison with the public. So we want to know what their feelings are, what they're looking for, what some things we can bring back to City Council. So again, you know, I would like to see that happen. I will be sending out a sign-up sheet, you know, of available meetings that are coming up, see if we can get in. And then I also, you know, would just like to make sure that we are at least going to our neighborhood association meetings. I know there are a few that may not have some, but if we can get to at least 1-2 meetings over the next year. I think that'd be great. Again, for us to get to know our neighbors, get to know our neighborhoods, and, get to see what we can do to help bridge that gap between the city and the public. So again, I will be getting some things out, like I said, sign up sheet, and, we'll be checking with you. I guess I'll let Michelle give us that information on who's having meetings and how we can join in and how we can get to those. So I look forward to a great year with this, and hopefully, the coronavirus can slow down a bit and we can actually get back to normal life. So, any questions?
Yes, do have a question for you, Rob. So are you going to get the information from Michelle first and then send the sign out sheet, or are you going to send out a sign out sheet per month for us to sign up and then go from there on, depending on which neighborhood has meetings?
Definitely going to check with Michelle first. So before I send that out, I'll make sure there's a meeting that's going to happen. And then we'll just sign up from there.
Okay.
So expect the first one to be coming out real soon. Hopefully we can get with Oakview. Jim can get us an invitation out there, and we can come out and then see what happens November and December. We do have a holiday, hopefully. That'll be Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so, we'll just, plan around that and just make sure going to the new year, we have some solid appointments and we can get to them.
Rob, right now, Washington Street, and I'll send you guys out the information tomorrow, but they actually sent me the link to their meeting. And so they'll be meeting on Tuesday, the 27th. I think that's the date. Yes. And I'll send the link out. If you want me to send it out to you, or just send it to the group, but I'll send that link out. And then Jim, as he stated, will be meeting on the 29th. And I think I saw something where he had sent something out to, Alicia had sent something out to the neighborhood leaders. And I think it has a link on there. And then Mr. Mingo will be meeting on November the 9th in person at Moorhead Recreation Center. And I'll send that information out to you.
That'd be great. I definitely want to make sure we're participating, guys and gals. We just want to get out there. COVID is out here now. And, we've got some, other, things we're going to be discussing with Mike. So now will be a great time to make sure that we are getting that liaison with the public, bringing that information back, and, just making sure we're doing our jobs as CAC members. So I appreciate everybody's, involvement in this. And so we'll make it happen.
Robert, I just have a quick question. Like, you talk about liaison between us and our neighbors and stuff. I mean, I'm just curious as to, I want to complain about the rate increase in our sewage, but what is there something in particular, that we want feedback about?
I would say at this point, anything really, because again, this is information we're going to be taking back to City Council. So in your case, if it is the sewage rate, let's get that information.
Yeah, water rates. So there was increases in October.
Yeah, and fortunately we have a couple of City Council on the line this evening. So, maybe that's one topic we'll make sure that we can get to them. But
speaking of which, did they vote on those increases?
Yes,
Yes, we did.
part of the budget.
Okay, hang on, guys.
Great question, Clodagh. Those are the kind of questions I think we'll be getting as we go to these neighborhood meetings. But yeah, anything that we can come up with. Again, we do have this COVID, and hopefully, it'll be leaving us soon. We're not sure. A lot of people think it's going to drag on, but just do as much as we can. Make sure we're getting out there. The people know who we are, and just be able to pass information along that's needed. So I say any information is good information.
Mr. Chairman, was there a question about the sewer rates?
No,
it was more of a frustration, not really a question. That and schools, but I won't start that. So.
Well, just so you guys know, and staff can verify, get you more concrete evidence, but the sewer rate is going to, or the water rates is going to go up by 3% probably forever. I mean, it's based on their long-term projections of the cost of providing services, and we're actually in line with every other municipality in the state. We're right there in the averages. They get to us that, I mean, our power rates are stable. We had a slight decrease from 2019 to 2020, and we did pass no increase on the utility rates for this upcoming year. But you will see, which I posted the next door and some other things, you will see that Duke's rates are going to be going up in their projections in the next couple of years. So High Point's rates will actually be lower and more competitive than them. But that's definitely some cool stuff that we can definitely get to you guys, and happy, Clodagh, you can always get in touch with me too. Happy to address any of those so that you guys can be as armed with that information as possible at your neighborhood meetings. And if I know I'm going to be going to something with Jim Bronner, text me about too. So we want to make ourselves available for those resources as well. Hope that helps.
Yeah, I'll send them all your way.
And Chairman Sims, if you don't mind, I love to echo what you said earlier about the value added whenever CAC members are able to liaison with our neighborhood association groups. Council tries to do our best, I think, to stay in contact with as many people groups throughout the city, various organizations, neighborhoods, and communities. And our CAC appointees, you all as leaders in the community, add a lot of value, being able to really join us in making some of those visits and attending some of those meetings and things of that nature. Where there's been times where it's fallen that a neighborhood meeting falls on the same evening as a board meeting or another event that ends up conflicting. And so where you have CAC council members who are leaders, who are willing to go and attend those meetings and be present, I think it adds a lot of value, not just to the operations of city council, but I think to our city at large. So.
And our neighborhood leaders, they don't know you guys because you're fairly new, but they did get the opportunity to learn who our former CAC members were, because we made every opportunity to actually get them involved with them, and to include having joint meetings. And we also had it where different CAC members signed up to attend different meetings and then reported back any information that they may have gotten out of the neighborhood leaders meeting to the CAC as a whole. And so I think the neighborhood associations really enjoy having you there. Knowing that you guys represent the ward, knowing that, someone else, is listening to their concerns. And I think that it's an important thing to build on to that relationship.
Excellent. And that's everything in a nutshell. What we're trying to do here. We do want to get out. And, for the new officers, I definitely want to see us get out and participate more. And again, keep in mind it is COVID, so we're taking steps. But I do want to make sure we take the steps to get involved, to have a say. And I would challenge us each to go a step further and get in touch with our ward representative, our ward city councilman. Just introduce ourselves, let them know we're here. Because if we are the voice of the people, then the people are talking to city council. And so I just think it's a win-win for us if we can immerse ourselves in knowing what's going on in the city, appreciating what it is that we add to the process, and being that participant sort of image for the CAC. So, but again, I'll be putting out some schedules as we get through November, December. We'll make sure we get them out to everybody, and just make sure you sign up for 1 or 2. Get them out, bring the information back. That'll be great. Okay. So that's it for old business. Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
You can also find out about what's going on in Yogi. We're very involved with. We have a nice Facebook page that anything that we're doing is put on there. Plus, next door is also a place where we put a lot of stuff. So we have a lot of places that people can find out what we're doing and what, when, and where, and all that good stuff.
Okay. You think we get that link to Michelle, and we can also make sure that gets out?
Sure.
Excellent. Okay. All right, guys. All right, now we're on to new business. The floor is open. Anyone have anything new they want to inform us of this evening? No. Open the floor to anyone. Mr. Jones, Mr. Jefferson.
Nothing really. Just appreciate you guys letting me hang out with you tonight. Sign in. I've just been wanting to stop by and hang out with Cyril's committee for a little bit. Hopefully he'll come and visit some of mine, and excited about all the things you guys are doing, and just thanks for serving the city. Cyril, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I'm assuming this is that portion in the agenda where it's, I guess, a city council update.
No, it's not actually.
Oh, it's not. Okay. All right. I wasn't sure.
Of course, you can talk all you want.
Yeah, but we haven't done Mike's updates, and so if the chairperson wants to flip their agenda, he can do that.
No, let's let Mike go first. That's usually where I get all the rest of my updates from, is Mike going, and then I have something to talk about after that. So Mike, if you will.
Okay.
Mike.
We have, as you're aware, we have approximately $198,000 remaining from the initial Cdbg Cv allocation. And we are watching what's going on in the community. And we also have about $87,000 that has been committed for emergency utility, rent, and mortgage assistance. Not all together, but there's 3 agencies doing that. And they're just getting underway. And so what my plans at this point is, we're going to pause and see what's going on. We know that there's a tsunami of emergency utility rent issues coming our way. We also know that the state just released a program that they call the HOPE program, Housing Opportunities and Prevention of Evictions program, that also provides utility assistance and rent assistance. So we're going to pause for a minute and see what's going on and figure out what's the best use of those funds. We may not, depending on what we see, if we see a sudden surge that requires immediate funding of some kind, we'll probably forego an RFP and just deal with the public service recipients that we're already contracted with. But that's something we're just watching to just see. Once we get some more activity history from the 3 agencies, we'll have a better sensing of that. But the focus is going to be, our focus right now is that those emergency utilities assistance, utility, rent, and mortgage, that seems to be the big push right now. So that's probably going to be our focus. Now, the Cdbg Cv allocation, as I told the CDE committee, I guess it was last month, we're looking for an opportunity to get involved in some kind of a public facility or some kind of capital project that would, it's an opportunity to do something we wouldn't get a chance to do otherwise. So we're evaluating that. So we're not, these funds have to last us for a while. So we're not in a rush to go running out and distributing funds. But so that's kind of where we are right now. We're just watching, listening, interacting with our colleagues across the state and across the nation to get a sensing of where the need is. And right now, from what we see, the need is, again, utilities, rents, and mortgage assistance. That's where the big need is. Anybody got any questions of me before we move on to something else?
Yeah.
So these, go ahead, Oral. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mike, you had mentioned last month about the CDBG Cv allocation. Is that the $588,651 that you're talking about?
That's the CV3.
Okay.
That's the second allocation.
Okay.
The first allocation was, you can make me remember, 556,702, I think, was what it was. We allocated 354 roughly. I don't remember the exact number, but we have about 198,000 on hand now.
Got it.
So we're just going to wait and just see where the greater need is. And if we see that there is a giant rush, the fastest way to get the funding out there is to just amend existing contracts. Of course, we would take that to council. That would be the fastest way to get funding out in the community if we needed to do that, rather than doing an RFP.
Now, Mike, is this the remaining 198 we're talking about, that we're just gonna sit back and wait and see what we need it for?
Yes.
Okay. And then do we have plans for that CV3 or CDBG 3?
We're talking to people, we don't have a project yet. But we haven't made any, there's no conceptual commitments of any kind. We're just talking to different folks out in the community and seeing there's an opportunity for us to get involved on the project. It makes sense. But of course, has to prevent and respond.
Mike, I think you're
Mike, we can't
distorted.
hear you.
Yeah, I get your auto tune on, Mike.
You can't hear me?
Something
It's
is
really
going
distorted. The
Yeah.
mic is real fuzzy.
Computer system.
It was fine and now it's not.
Sound like a
Mike,
Halloween
the
character.
mixtape again.
We don't get those surface.
No, we can't.
Can't hear you.
Hear me? I'm not. I'm muted.
Yeah, no, we hear noise coming out. It's just not clear. It's distorted. It's sort of doing something.
Yeah, Mike, it sounds like you went digital on us.
Let's see.
He's celebrating Halloween a little bit early.
Yeah.
Hey, I am your father.
Exactly.
This is on.
Mike, do you want me to kind of maybe recap what you were saying earlier as far as the CDBG Cv3?
I think so, Nina.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave and come back.
Okay.
Leave and come back.
Okay. But Rob, to answer the question, what we have kind of talked about as staff, as Mike was kind of saying earlier, is that because we don't know everything that is going to happen, or there may be waves of certain, things that may happen due to COVID, that the second allocation of funds may give us an opportunity to maybe take on a larger project, something maybe with a public facility. Some of the things we've talked about, this is, we're just talk, has been, maybe someplace that's testing, or, something along those lines, that we actually are providing some type of public facility, a building, a structure, something that we normally would not have the funds to actually do. So we are trying to possibly take advantage of, this opportunity. I mean, it's not often that we get an extra $1 million, really. And so that's what we are looking at trying to do, is maybe something that may have a greater impact. Although we know that providing the rent, utilities, those types of public services are certainly important, because we want to keep people, in their homes. We want to keep the lights on and those types of things. But we also want to be able to look at maybe some other things that may have a greater impact on the community as a whole.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Is that better?
That's better.
Plus, just to follow on what Nina said, there's a lot of money floating around for those purposes. So what we're looking at is, well, maybe we should be looking at something unique to High Point that would address a big need that we have if these other resources are available. So I don't know if any of you, today I went to that Hope site and I filled out a bogus application, told them I was Billy Bob Thornton. And I found it to be not as user-friendly as it ought to be, because it asks for things like document uploads and stuff. And so we see that we may reach out to some of our partners and see if they would become, access points, because people need to be able to come to some place and upload those documents, because, most people don't have scanners. And so it's a fairly easy, the question, it's easy to answer and stuff, but when you get to the technical part of it, and they start asking for copies of your bills and your lease and all that kind of stuff, you have to upload that stuff. So we're going to see if we can perhaps smooth that out a little bit with folks in the community. But it's been put out, people are looking at it, but until you actually fill out that application, I understand there's been a lot of demand. I heard that the first day there were 11,000 applications, but that's the same funding that we have. So, and obviously they have a lot more of it than we do. So that's what we're looking at. Any questions of me before I move on?
Yeah. Is there a deadline for spending the money?
Rob, I have seen multiple deadlines. There are targets, different targets. I've seen one deadline of September 2021. I've seen another one of September 2022. We're not exactly sure. We're going to act like it's 2021 until somebody tells us in writing that it's not. But directs it to us and says it's actually 2022. But I've seen it online at Hub's website, different dates. So we're not going to get caught with our pants down and looking at 2022 and find out it's 2021. But that's what we're looking at. I read that HUD had to have the funds obligated by 2022, September 2022. But that's something we'll have to take up with our state reps and say, okay, what's the real date, guys? As far as we're concerned, maybe you want us to be done a year before you have to be done. We don't know. But because they keep issuing new guidance. Frankly, that was why the contracts were delayed getting out, because HUD kept issuing new guidance that required us to do some rewrites and put some language in the contracts that we were using the contracts that we normally use for the public service contracts. And then they came out with this additional stuff. Now we want to see this, we want to see that. And before we could get it pushed out, we we had to stop and get them rewritten. And that's what got everybody delayed. So the folks providing, for instance, Housing Consultant Group, Open Door Ministries, and Piedmont Health are the folks that are providing that assistance, but they're just now getting started. At the time, we thought it would be getting started in August or so, but all that got pushed back. So now they're just now getting their stuff together, and they got all the contracts and everything. So that's kind of making us pause and say, okay, let's see some history. What is happening in our community? And right now, we don't have any data. So you probably noticed in the reports, there are funds that have been expended by the subrecipient, but they haven't sent us bills yet. So, we just have to kind of see what that looks like. Anything else for me before I move on? Okay. If you pass by Cedro, we talk about the project. Today, they dug footers on 2 homes and poured concrete, so they're getting started. Habitat is over on Cable Street, and they are moving a lot of dirt. They got a building permit for 615 Cable Street, so they're getting underway. I think we told you that the Abbey Crossing elderly housing project was approved by the state, but we're waiting for the developer to tell us. We're trying to finalize what we're asking him is to what's the smallest amount of money that we can put in the project and still be viable, so that we can have some left over for the next project, because we're approaching the end of our Section 108 capacity. So we're going to see if we can get squeeze out a couple more before we use it all up. But right now, he's telling us that the equity markets are all out of whack, and nobody knows what kind of yield they're going to get from tax credits. So at this point, all of their stuff is really kind of suspended until they get a feel for what's happening there. And what am I leaving out, Michelle? I'm leaving something out. You don't know?
I think that's it.
Now, there's always stuff going on.
At schools, open up schools.
Open up schools.
What about Torrent Place or whatever that's Torrent? I go past her every day. I see the progress.
The what, Jim?
It's on Wendover. What's that, Torrent?
Avondale Trace.
Yeah.
Avondale Trace. They should be open in 2 or 3 months. They're talking about end of December. Now, I haven't been out there in 3 or 4 weeks, but I know all the buildings are up in various stages. So they're at the point now, it's just a matter of finishing up.
Yeah, from what I see, most of the buildings in the rear part looks like they're just done.
Yeah.
Now they're working on the ones that are closer to the road.
Yeah, that was that was a delay there because they had to work out a way to get water to the site. Initially they were being told to drill under Wendover. And Wendover was solid rock. And they said, you really don't want us to do that because we'd have to stop all the traffic on Wendover. So they found another on the same side of the street as they were. I think they had to lay down like a 500-foot pipe to get to the nearest. I guess they had to go up to Tarrant or Laurel. What was it, Laurel Bluff?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they had to go up to that intersection to get water to the site. And that they could not start on the 3rd building until that was resolved. So that's what held that up.
Yeah, but I go past her every day. It's moving along pretty nice.
Yeah, it's going to be a crown jewel, man. It's going to be beautiful.
It's built on a weird place up on a hill, like.
Yeah, but he wanted that. I mean, he's it's like a monument. People see it as they come into the city. So It's gonna be very nice. It's gonna be very nice. Mr. Chair, I think that's all I got unless somebody has a question for me.
All right. Thank you, Mr. McNair. Great updates. We'll just move along to Mr. Cyril Jefferson with City Council updates.
Thank you, Chairman Sims. I appreciate it. And as always, it's a pleasure to be here with you all. We've got a few things that I want to make you all aware of in the way of events and just some updates on council initiatives and efforts going on. So I want to talk about events first, and that's that our Economic Development Corporation will be holding their annual meeting on November 4th. It will be a virtual event that will convene from 3 to 5:30 p.m. They'll be giving a tour of the new Amada facility that went up this year, as well as talking about our updates and project plans, things of that nature for the citywide economic development efforts. As you know, we approved incentives recently for a potential data center to come to High Point, and not only us, but the county approved it as well. The data center is one that would be a huge project that would bring a lot of revenue to our tax base, but would also be really good at recruiting and attracting other businesses to the area. Data centers end up serving other businesses in regards to them holding a lot of the servers and digital software that companies use. So look out for that. If you all want more information in regards to that economic development annual meeting, please feel free to let me know. As I said, it's November 4th from 3 to 5:30. Piedmont
I can send them over the invite. I have a copy of that and I can send it to them.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Piedmont Health Services and Sickle Cell Agency is holding a community fair and car wash on October 24th. I believe that starts at 10 and ends at 2 p.m. It'll be at Southside Recreation Center. A number of council members have been invited to it, so some of us may show up. If you all want to come out and support them as well, I'm sure that they'd appreciate it. Also, High Point Kiwanis Club is holding an event on October 30th at Washington Terrace. It's their 100th anniversary, and to commemorate, they decided to gift the park with a new playground. And so I'm looking forward to that event. I will be there. It will be a whole ribbon cutting ceremony. I'll probably provide some words. If you all want to show up and attend, I'm sure they'd appreciate that. Again, that's October 30th. It starts at 12 p.m. and that's the High Point Kiwanis Club donating and doing the ribbon cutting for a playground there at Washington Terrace Park. Some of the strategic work being done by the city includes our NWBE engagement that we're taking a look at. Our community development committee has been receiving some numbers on some of that information, and we're just continuing to do our due diligence in regards to that area, and hopefully we'll have some updates there. Not only is council looking at how we as a municipality address our MWB participation, but we're also looking at what are the opportunities to partner with leaders and stakeholders in our community to support minority-owned enterprises as well. You may have heard about, or you may have seen as you're on your way to work, a lot of police cars pulling folks over. That is not by accident. I want to make folks aware so that way everyone understands that over the past couple of months, and Councilman Jones, Councilman Hudson, please feel free to weigh in. I'm sure you guys are aware of this too. If you read in the newspaper, there's been fatal car accidents, probably more than what I'm used to seeing in the newspaper. Fatal car accidents, not only that, tragic car accidents where folks are speeding, driving recklessly. And so our police department, in an attempt to combat that and hopefully mitigate potential accidents in the future, have reinstituted a pretty aggressive initiative to calm traffic and ensure safe driving. And so if you see them out there, it's not that they're trying to meet a quota. That's not what it is, but they're responding. They're responding to the fact that probably COVID happened. Some of the ticket writing went down. People got out and started driving. And I know for a fact of young people, older people, folks from our city, folks from out of town, people on their way to work, people on their way home who have gotten in fatal or just terrible car accidents. Some lost their lives, some have their lives changed forever because of reckless driving. So we're thrilled about our police department and the work that they'll do there. I'm sure a lot of people won't be thrilled about the tickets. I know I wouldn't be, but I'm doing my best to drive underneath the speed limit. Amen, somebody. You also probably have noticed that our High Point Police Department did do a community meeting with our London Woods Neighborhood Association. Some folks reached out and asked about that. That was specifically for that neighborhood, as they reached out and said that they were having some issues. So we facilitated that opportunity. Chief Schultz, a number of members from his team, and in addition to our ATF personnel here locally, attended that meeting and gave some valuable information. In case you don't know, our police department is always willing to come and speak with neighborhood association groups. I know that Jim Bronner, as the head of Oakview Citizens Council, has had the police department come out to their neighborhood meetings. I'm pretty sure a number of other neighborhood groups have had that. If you have any questions about how to facilitate a meeting like that, I'm pretty sure you can ask our staff, Mike, Michelle, Nina, whoever else is on here. I'm sure that they'd be willing to maybe help with that as well. We're getting almost done here. The Coltrane House did, let's see, the update there is that the Jefferson Historic Preservation Commission did vote to approve a recommendation for a landmark designation. That will come before High Point City Council probably in the next couple of months for us to hear. From there, the local landmark, if approved, would be designated for that home over on Underhill Street. For those who don't know, John Coltrane spent his most formative years here in High Point as a young person, learning how to play music. His house that he grew up in is still alive and well. And actually myself and Phyllis Bridges, Mike McNair, Michelle, I'm trying to see if anyone else on this, are part of that oversight committee doing the work to receive community input and look at ways to repurpose that site and hopefully turn it into something that'll be really valuable for our community. So stay on the lookout for that. The city's continuing to look at what our strategic marketing initiative is, and hopefully we'll have some more updates there. I think I've hit just about all the big council updates. I'll yield if Councilman Jones or Councilman Hudson, who are our guests this evening, if you guys have anything you want to add to any of those updates or any further thoughts that you'd like to provide to the group, please feel free to. Otherwise, Chairman Sims, that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Jefferson.
I got one thing, Cyril, I don't know if you mentioned it, Mr. Chairman, there's also this coming Friday, I think it's October 30th, the battle between the fire department and the High Point PD. So we got briefed in our public safety committee on some of the police training stuff, and I definitely cracked a little joke, said I hope y'all are trained to beat the fire department next week. But anyway, that'll be a fun little event to support all of our first responders, both on the fire department and the High Point PD. So come out, watch some softball.
Yeah, and I totally forgot to mention that. That's going to be a great event. It's going to be at the Rocker Stadium. The Rocker Stadium holds thousands, but obviously because of COVID, they're limiting attendance to a safe number according to government regulations. And so it's still going to be a fun event. It's going to be socially distanced. It's going to be outdoors, and it's a charity game where proceeds will go to benefit organizations and those serving our community. So Councilman Jones, thanks so much for that.
Just to give everybody FYI, those tickets are actually sold out. So there was about 500 tickets.
We got some.
And they're sold out.
That's tough. I'm sorry. I hate that we just got
you might try and videotape.
Ryan told us it was sold out. Thanks, Ryan.
But there is an awesome MC. I'm just saying.
Would that be yours truly, Ryan?
I have no idea what you're talking about. But yes, it's me.
I got my tickets.
Yes, thanks for getting mine too, Jim.
I did hear if anyone wants to wear the mascot outfit, then they may be able to get you access to the game, but you just got to wear all 9 innings. That's all. Not a lot, just 9 innings. It'll be COVID proof too. You won't need a face mask. Okay.
No guarantees, right? Yeah.
Hey, Cyril, it's funny that you mentioned about the Oakview group having the police department. Actually, next Thursday we're having Travis Stroud as our speaker. So, and that's open to anybody who wants to come. These aren't our meetings are open to anybody. You know, these are public forums.
Nice.
All right, excellent, excellent. Thank you, Councilman Jefferson. Thank you, Councilman Jones. We do appreciate all of that great information. And again, a lot of this stuff we'll make sure that Michelle gets. We can get it out to everybody. So if anybody got any questions, just let us know, and we'll make sure we get it out to you. Any announcements?
Well, I might just bring up that the Oakview group, we did something interesting. We normally do a art contest every year affiliated with our National Night Out, but it's only usually for the kids at Oakview Rec Center. This time, since we couldn't do a National Night Out effectively like we'd like to, we went ahead and did the art contest anyway, but we made it a citywide contest. And that turned out nice. It was successful. We got the theme of this particular art contest. We know that the kids have been affected by this COVID problem. So we wanted to see what they had to say about it, how they felt, how they were coping with it. And so they could either do a picture by drawing, or they could do an essay, because not everybody is an artist and not everybody's a writer. So the newspaper, I'm getting ready to put everything together, and so we're going to send it off to the newspaper, and I think they're going to print at least the top 10 that we picked, and all the kids will receive nice gifts and prizes and all that. So, and I know there's several professionals who are involved with psychology and different things. They're interested to see how these kids have drawn and written, and so they can kind of see how things are affecting them.
Great. It's great news. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Well, in that case, our next meeting is scheduled for November 19th. I think we all agreed on that. So, again, it will still be Zoom. And so same bat time, same bat channel, I do assume. Nothing changes. And I think that's about it. Does anybody else have anything to share? Okay. Well, do I have a motion to adjourn this evening?
So move.
Okay. All in favor?
I
You need a second on that.
can
motion.
second it.
Thank you, Chloe.
Okay. Thank you, Clodagh. So all in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? All right. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out this evening. It was a great meeting, and we will talk to you on the 19th.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Take care.
Bye.